Hey y'all, today we are making homemade goldfish crackers. Alright, these are super easy to throw together, y'all, and they're so good. So start out by preheating your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Then you are going to need a block of sharp cheddar cheese. And I'm going to grate this myself. I've never used the bag stuff for this, but use whatever you have. And anything I use in this video that came from Amazon, I will link below for y'all because I know a lot of times y'all want to know where I get certain things from. I order almost everything off of Amazon because it's just easy to do. So if I have those and I got them from Amazon, I will link them below, like this grater, because I love this cheese grater. I use this for hash browns, cheese, everything else. It's super easy to use, y'all. So if you haven't gotten one of these yet and you shred a lot of stuff, it's definitely a good investment. So anyway, shred up your block of cheese. We're only going to need 2 cups of cheese, so I'm going to use a little bit less than what I shredded up. But, you know, 1 block will be plenty. Just a little 8-ounce block. So to mix this, I'm going to use my stand mixer. You can use a hand mixer if you want to, or you can use a food processor. Any of those will work. But I'm using my stand mixer because it just is easy. So you're going to add to the bowl of your stand mixer or whatever bowl you're using 1 stick or 1/2 of a cup of softened butter. You want this soft. You do not want this melted. We're going to have to roll this dough out. And if your butter is melted and it makes the dough warm, it's going to be difficult to roll it out. So make sure that it's just softened butter, not melted butter, okay? And I just gave my butter a little bit of a mix there just to make sure that it was actually really good and soft. And then you're going to add in 2 cups of your shredded cheese. And again, like I said, I use sharp cheddar because I love the flavor, and I feel like when you make something like this, if you use a milder cheddar, it's a really muted flavor. You kind of really need the sharp cheddar cheese for these crackers. So you're just going to mix this until your butter and your cheese are completely combined. None of this takes very long. If y'all hear squeaking in the background, my chair, I'm sitting in my office today instead of piled up in my bed recording, and my chair, the arm of my chair squeaks. So if y'all hear that and it's annoying, I apologize. So make sure that you scrape down your bowl as you're mixing this, just to make sure that you don't have any clumps of butter that are hidden in there anywhere, okay? So we're gonna do, like I said, your butter and your cheese. So you got 1/2 cup of butter or 1 stick and 2 cups of cheese. Mix that until they're good and combined together. Then we're going to add our dry ingredients. And again, super easy recipe, very minimal ingredients. So we're going to add in 1 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour. And this doesn't have to be, it's not like we're baking bread, so you don't have to like weigh this out and all those things. It's going to be fine however you measure your flour out. So 1 1/4 cup of flour. Then we're going to add a little bit of seasoning to these. Now, it's my recipe, obviously, so I am going to tell you what I'm adding to mine. If there's something you don't like that I add, feel free to tweak it to whatever you like. I mean, that's the best thing about homemade recipes is you can make them however you want to. So I added in a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Don't add too much because your cheese is salty. And then I add a 1/2 teaspoon each of garlic and onion powder. Yes, mine is granulated, but I use the granulated and the regular powder interchangeably. I personally don't notice that much of a difference in the taste, but use whatever you have. And then the last thing that we're going to add is 1/4 of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Now, y'all know if you've been following me for a while, I don't do heat. I like it, but it doesn't like me. But in this recipe, this tiny bit of cayenne is delicious. It just makes the whole cracker, in my opinion. Now, if you're making them for little ones, if I make them for my grandkids, I don't add the cayenne pepper. But they're not like hot or anything. You know what I mean? They're not like super hot and oh my gosh, I need a big jug of water. It just gives it a really good flavor, in my opinion. So you're going to want to mix this until all of your flour is completely combined into your butter and cheese mixture. stop and scrape it down if you need to. Make sure all that flour, you're getting it up off the bottom. And this is going to be a very dry and crumbly dough, okay? So don't let that freak you out if you feel like it's not coming together. It will. It will come together, okay? And if you've been following me for a while and you've seen my cheese straw video from way back, it's the same recipe. If I'm going to make a cheese cracker, this is the recipe that I use, whether I'm making a what do they call it, a Cheez-It or a Goldfish or a cheese straw or whatever. These are just the flavors that I really, really like together. But again, if you don't like cayenne, you don't have to add it at all. If you like more garlic or less garlic or whatever, just tweak it to your taste. But I highly suggest to try it the way that I do it because it's really, really good. And then if you feel like you need to change it, you can. So once you get everything mixed, what you saw me do right there is I pick up a little bit of my dough and just kind of squeeze it in my hand. If it holds together, it's good to go, okay? Now, you will see that I have a little bit of residual flour still in mine. So what you're seeing me do right now, with clean hands, mind you, is you're going to, if you have any extra, like flour that didn't quite get mixed in, because you know with the, especially the stand mixer, the paddle doesn't go all the way to the bottom of the bowl. So sometimes you can have a little bit of leftover something down there. So what I'm doing is just picking and pulling the stuff off the bottoms and the sides, and I'm going to just get that all mixed into my big dough ball. So what you're going to see me, it looks like I'm kneading the dough. That's not what I'm doing. All I'm doing is mixing the flour and the dry pieces in, okay? It doesn't need to be kneaded like if you were making bread or something. You don't have to work it. If your flour is all mixed in, you don't have to do what I'm doing right here at all. But once I get my little crumbly pieces and my flour all mixed in, I then press it out just a little bit because I want to kind of give it a head start. We are going to roll this out with a rolling pin, but I like to give it just a teeny bit of a head start because I don't know, like I struggle rolling stuff out with a rolling pin. Like I feel like I can never get it straight. It sticks or it don't stick or it moves over. Like, I don't know. I need some rolling pin classes or something, y'all. But anyway, so I'm just cleaning up my little extra crumblies. So you're just going to roll this out until it's about, in the recipe that I leave for y'all in the description box, it says 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch. Get it as thin as you can get it. Oh my gosh, excuse me, I'm choking to death. It doesn't have to be perfect. Doesn't have to go into a perfect circle or rectangle or any of that kind of stuff. If you have leftover edges, once you cut everything out that you can, roll it all back in a ball together and roll it out again until you use everything up. This is my Goldfish cutter. I will link this down below for y'all, along with my mat that I'm using and the cheese grater. They'll all be linked in the description box for y'all if you're looking for any of that. So, but like I said, you want to roll it out pretty thin because the thinner you get these crackers, the crispier they're going to be, and the less time it's going to take them to cook. Not that it takes a long time anyway, but the thinner it is, just the better they're going to be. Just trust me on that. So I wasn't pressing super hard on my silicone mat, so what you saw me doing was kind of pressing the bottom part of the mold or the cutter that I was using, just to make sure that all my goldfish were completely cut. And then to get these out of here, you can use your finger to poke like the little head of the fish, but it's hard to get in there to poke where the tails are. And sometimes, because it's such a dry dough, if you don't poke the tails out, when the head falls out, the tails will stay in it. Does that make sense? So I'm just using a butter knife to very gently poke where the little tails are to make sure that it all comes out in a complete fish, if that makes sense. So you're just going to keep going with this until you've cut out as many little goldfish as you can get out of your dough. Now, you can put them pretty close together. They're not going to spread out. They're just going to puff up a little bit. So you can put a ton on a cookie sheet. So these are going to go into the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 15 to 20 minutes, depending on your oven and how thin you cut them. And that's what they look like when they come out. So they are cute little goldfish, y'all. And I will show you the inside of mine. These I didn't roll out super thin. So mine are more of a soft, kind of a flaky cracker. rather than something that's hard and crunchy, if that makes sense. But the thinner it is, like I said, the crispier it will be. But these are delicious, so y'all have to make these. All right, that is all I have for y'all today, and I will catch y'all on the next one. Bye, y'all.